It's Sunday, it's 8 o'clock, therefore it's time for Empower Hour with me, Carla Andrews, the Managing Director of Motivated Minds. So, it's a long weekend. We have had the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday, and we've got tomorrow off. Well, that depends whether you work in retail or not, or whether you might work in care. But for the majority, certainly for me, I've had 4 days. Well, I will have had 4 days off, and what heaven that is for me. Um, we'll talk about that in a bit of what we've been doing with our weekends and why that's good for our mental health and well-being. Okay, so let's get some hellos in. Hi, Catherine. Catherine and the Keen Gang are with us. If it's your first time with us, please do put a hello in the comments. I don't get to see the thumbs up or the hearts or anything like that until um, uh, the hour's over. So please just drop a hello in the comments. Lauren's with us. These like evenings are throwing me right off the actual time. I get you, Lauren. Hi Natalie, how are you? So it's great that you're all tuning in. Evening Tasha, happy Easter everyone, she says. Um, wow, I just come across your page. How are the boys? How are you? Long time. Hi, Susan. Hi, yes, it's Easter, everyone. And as I've just said, 4 days, certainly for moi, off work. So making the most of it. And what beautiful weather that we've been having in Essex today. Oh my gosh, I thought we was meant to be having snow or something, but it's been a gorgeous day and I've made the most of it. Went for a little walk earlier with the beautiful Lindsay, then went home, been in the garden for a little bit, just lapping up the silence and the calm and the tranquility and just absolutely making the most of my weekend. So, how has your weekend been? Before we do moan and move on, tell me about your weekends. How have you spent it? Have you been relaxing? Have you had to work? Share with me what you've been up to. Now, for those that haven't seen Empower Hour before, we're here every Sunday night at 8 o'clock, and the idea is just to talk about our mental health and well-being and focus on it and work out ways that we can improve it together. So throughout the hour we stick with our moan and move ons, so we'll have a little share with those in a minute. So anything that you just want to dump into our bucket basically is a moan and move on. And then we look at our wellness wins from the past week. So we ask for 3 things that maybe you're grateful for, that maybe something that you've stepped out, you've increased your comfort zone, like you've stepped out and surprised yourself, just something that was just a moment of, oh, that's nice. That's made me feel all warm inside. So they're your 3 wellness wins. And then towards the end of the hour, we do our cards. And as I said, I'm not Mystic Meg, but I am an affirmator. So we get the affirmation cards out, we get the empowering questions out, and you guys get to choose a card for you for the week ahead. So, okay. Let's dive straight in then. So this weekend, now I always talk to you about energy, and we can create a hell of a lot of energy in us, and sometimes it can be negative, sometimes it can be just positive and we want to burst, but it's about having a balance and about getting that balance and making sure that we're not overdoing it, or it's not at different levels. So think of it like a bank account. We always want to, what we expel, we've got to make sure that we're getting back, because we don't want to go into negative, and we don't want to have negative, too much negative energy, because it exasperates our anxiety and our ability to sit still. And we want to try and get that balance where we're living harmonious. So we want to fill up our positive energy cup. So how can we do that? So exercise has got to be one of the most popular ways. Getting out, talking to friends, a bit of sunshine, walking. We haven't got to be athletic runners to get exercise. So, and exercise is so good for our physical energy and for our mental energy. So, we've been doing that this weekend. So, we've been concentrating on that kind of energy. So, I've gone for a walk, I've created my safe space, and just chilled out. So, what have you guys done this weekend for you and your energy? So let me know. I know that the Keane family, they sent me a couple of videos. They went bike riding in Danbury Way. I saw the female child Keane bike riding her way through a forest and doing jumps. It looked very energetic, lots of positive energy. So on our energy meter, that's a higher one. We loved it. So that's brilliant. I know some of you, I saw Tasha this week, Wednesday in fact, and just seeing her beaming smile was topped up my energy meter. So it was great, and I hope you got to pot a pansy, Tasha, with the little ones. So yeah, let me know what you've been doing to top up your energy and put it in the positive zone. So, and then we want to share moan and move ons. So once you've done that, we're going to share our moan and move ons. Are there any this week? Is it still teenage children? Is it partners? Is it the thought of the world reopening up and us having to step into it? I know that that's worrying a lot of people at the moment. I'm getting a lot of messages coming in about how to cope with that. So we'll discuss that a little bit later. Hi Jenny, how are you? So the world is reopening up. I mean, luckily we've had just 6 days of it so far where we're getting to see our families again. I can hear my neighbours. They've got their family and their friends in their gardens, and it sounds wonderful that people are getting back together. I know how much everyone has missed their friends and families. So, and what with this lovely weekend, it's been a fantastic opportunity for us to see our loved ones. Um, but in just over a week, we're going to be seeing the next step forward where the shops will be opening up, and I know a lot of people are worried about that. So we need to be what I suggested to someone is that take the best bits that you've liked about lockdown and keep those habits close to you. So we know that the shops are opening back up, but if you don't need to go to the shop, stay away from the shops. If you do have to go shopping, make sure you're going at sort of the quieter hours, not between the sort of 9 and 3, Monday to Friday. If you can do it sort of later evening, that might help you because the shops are quieter. Some of the times the best time to go is just before they close. So if you can do that. If there's a way of not going back into the world of madness, um, then grab it. I think that's the best thing about lockdown. It's forced many people to slow down. I think we started to live speedier lives because our internet's always on, like our messaging's always on, and work's always calling for many of us. And lockdown has slowed that down for a lot of people, and people have been walking, they've been bike riding, they've been having more time with their family. So find what the right balance for you, and if you have to go back to work, then talk to your employers. There are so many employers now that are looking at a combination of work from home and work from work. They're looking at what's best for people, so just talk to your employers, be honest. That's the best way forward. And if you are having those anxieties about your workplace, about it being too busy or even too quiet, and you're going to be alone, then just talk to your employers, talk to your team as well, and work out the solutions. One thing I always like to hold my hands up to is that I'm always solution focused. Things are going to always go wrong, it's part of life, but if we focus on what could go wrong or what has gone wrong, we're missing the point of it. The point is always to find how we can correct the course, how we can make it better. So go in, talk to your teams and find what works better. Or if it's even with your family, if it's not a work situation, talk to your family, find out what's working for you as a family and keep those things in place. So Catherine says, son says, moan and move on is golf clubs. He got a blister. More on that in Wellness Wins though. Ooh. And Christine says, moan and move on a 3K dentist bill for son. 3K dentist bill. Oh my God. That's, yeah, that's a lot of money. And Jenny, though, has seen some friends in the garden. Jenny, isn't it great? Just the weather that we've had this weekend. So, is that it for Moan and Move On? It's a quiet week for Moan and Move On, if that's the case. Let me check my phone. Sometimes I get the anonymous ones come in. Oh, and I may well have some. Let's have a look. Right. Right. No. Okay. So, hey, the lovely Joe's with us. So, yeah, moan and move ons. It's a quiet one tonight. Joe, have you got a moan and move on? So, as I've said, I've thrown out the teenagers, the partners. What about the partners that are ill? Um, you know, the ones that might have had a COVID jab and now are sofa bound. I only say that because one of my dearest friends, that's her situation, and we laugh about it. It's a bit of a joke between us. So, so no mode to move on from people. Okie dokes. Well, then let's go straight into our wellness wins. Come on, hit me up. Please tell me it's the weather, you've been out, you've spent time with your family or your friends. Hit me with your wellness wins. It might have just been going out and meeting other people. It might be getting that foot out the door. And especially if you've been struggling with anxiety since COVID, it might be wearing a mask and actually not losing the plot with it. Share with me your wellness wins. Could it be, and I've had a few of these over the last couple of weeks, of fighting your needle phobia to get your jab done? What are your wellness wins? Let me think of mine. Mine. Okay, number one, work related. We ran our Activate program this week, 2 days, and my junior team did an amazing job prepping it, getting it ready, prepping it and welcoming in our customers, children and adults, their parents, and they cooked them a meal, they put on activities, and it was brilliant. And that was our first proper program since last year, since sort of October last year, I think. So it was so good to be back as team motivated and jumping in and supporting people and seeing the experience that they had, how much they loved it. And following on from that, we had a pot of pansy outside King Edward Centre in Langdon, and again seeing people take part in that and some of our customers coming down and doing that with their kids, it was brilliant. So that's definitely one wellness win, was work. A second wellness win was just to this point 3 days off. I really needed it. The last time I had time off was at Christmas, and I was ill. So, and then the time before that was the Christmas beforehand. Haven't really had any time off apart from sort of my weekends off. Um, so I am really thrilled that I've got 4 days off. In fact, it's making me look at what days I want off soon. So once I've got all my team back in, I'll be taking a little bit of time off just to look after myself. And three, I started writing. I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to tell some of my stories in writing. So I've started, I would say put pen to paper. I haven't, but I'm dictating and it gets typed up, it gets transcribed straight away for me. So I've really enjoyed doing that. So that's my 3 wellness wins for the week. Now, let's look at these beauties. So I've got Joe Lyon says, sun, sun, sun. All the kids over Easter, lots of arts and crafts. Went to the park today and had a blast getting Holly to ride her bike solo. That is fabulous, Miss Lyon. Well done. For the Keens, we've got the lovely Keens. Wellness wins from the Keen family. Biking at Danbury with daughter. Only worked 1 day this week. Awesome. And met friends in garden for cocktails. Hangover not so great though. That's brilliant. I'm so pleased that you've got such fantastic wellness wins there, Catherine. Christine, family movie afternoon. Greece is the word. Love it. And catch up in the park with school mums. Brilliant. And watch Liverpool win today. Oh, that was good because I know some people that'll make very happy. So brilliant. Son, 4-3 win at first football match. Brilliant. Went karting, came second. An early birthday present, Sky Sports. Fantastic wellness wins there. Daughter tidied and organised brother's pit of a bedroom. It's so satisfying though, isn't it? When you can tidy and organise. I'm not sure about whether I would have found it satisfying doing my brother's. It depends on how much he thanked me and whether he gave me one of his Easter eggs, I suppose. But well done for you for being kind. Biking at Danbury, you did amazing. The fearlessness that you showed was brilliant, and I'm sure Catherine must have felt a bit of fear going up and down some of those, but you overcome it and you did it. So I'm really proud of you. And went to driving range for first time. I like driving ranges. I've only been once myself, but I thought it was very good. And it was great if you ever get like a bit of tension and you just want to bash something, going to the driving range is fantastic. So next time your brother annoys you, maybe you could say, "Oh, family trip to the driving range." Um, the lovely Lauren. Lauren, wellness wins. Meeting up with friends on Tuesdays in my friend's garden. Nice. So good to chat and catch up, I'm sure. Number 2, kids went back to rugby this weekend. Excellent. And 3, repaired the garden gate as it wouldn't close properly. Out come the chisel on the plane. Now it closes. And a bonus one, washed my absolutely filthy car. Brilliant. Well done, Lauren. Tasha. Tasha has shared her lovely wellness wins, and it's seeing family and watching the kids play together. Oh, I can bet. Number 2, getting out Wednesday and watching kids play and see some lovely faces. Well done. And number 3, taking some me time and had a pamper. Well done, you. And yes, you deserve it. That's amazing. Um, Jennifer says, taking pictures. I have finished some mosaic of Easter. Oh, brilliant. And seeing friends. Jenny, that sounds brilliant. Wellness wins. My book sounds interesting. I hope so. I'll have to get you guys to proofread it. So it's just something I've wanted to do for maybe the last 6-7 years, maybe even longer than that. And it's just, I never get round to it. I keep putting it off. So and I was up till about 3 o'clock the other morning. Like my brain wouldn't let me sleep, so I was like, okay, like, and it was just all rolling out of my head. So I just downloaded an app to make it into a dictator, and started it. So who knows where it will lead. So that's your wellness wins, and you've done amazing, guys, as always. Now I know there's people that watch Empower Hour a little bit later, or they are watching and they don't want to put their stuff up, and that's fine. What I want you to do though is still find something that you can pat yourself on the back for. It could be a moment of kindness that you've witnessed between two strangers. It might be someone being kind to you, like, I don't know, opening a door for you when you're carrying all your shopping, or just, it could be anything really small. It hasn't got to be massive, but find your wellness wins. And it could be that you just opened the curtains today, that you brushed your teeth today. It doesn't have to be anything monumental. It just has to be a gratitude, something that we're grateful for. Okay, so jot it down and keep track of them. If you can do it on a daily basis, it will help you with your brain and the negativity that you might suffer. I know that negativity is something that I used to, I have struggled with at times in my life, and just focusing on something else that's more positive, or it just helps me shift that. So when I felt that everything was going wrong, I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay, because there's lessons to come out of it. So just always try and focus, find something, no matter how small. Um, I still love the little wellness wins that I get, like last week's one, where I just saw two strangers being really kind to one another, and it's just those moments in life that you can witness, and you just think, yeah, that was nice. Okie dokes. So it is. What is the time? 8:22. April is Autism Awareness Month, and I thought that this would be a great opportunity. Our first Empower Hour of the month, and we're going to dedicate it to autism. Now, autism. Okay, so what is autism? A lot of people will say Asperger's, and yes, Asperger's is there. However, years ago, Asperger's and autism were categorised separate. Now they're categorised under an umbrella, and basically autism is a developmental disorder characterised by difficulties with social interaction and communication, and can be restricted and repetitive behaviour. Now, symptoms, as I said, social interaction, um, the calling out, the repeating, not knowing when to talk, yeah, can be socially awkward, can have trouble with both the verbal and non-verbal communication. So for some of you, you know that my boys were diagnosed when they were younger, when they were about 10 and 11, formally diagnosed. I noticed straight as soon as my younger son was born that he was sensitive to certain sounds, and I suppose I noticed more things with him that were different to his brother. Now, there's only 11 months between my two, so there isn't a lot. Eddie, I'd always striked me. So Eddie's my older one. Eddie always striked me as more social. and very forward. So he was speaking at one, and he had a fantastic vocabulary, and he was very super intelligent. Um, but when he went to nursery, he started to stick out a little bit. Um, he was empathic, but he wouldn't know how to communicate with the boys. With the girls, he would play with them nicely. With the boys, he didn't know how to. So he really had trouble, and he wanted to be their friend. And you'd see him try, but he got on better with girls than boys. And I remember a boy in his class, making a lion's noise. Now, I swear to God, Eddie must have copied this lion noise about 80 times a day for weeks, maybe months, but it went on for weeks. And the boys, his class friends, found it funny sort of the first time he did it, second time, and then they started to get annoyed with him, and it was like always in their faces. So you see these other little boys like sort of, oh, go away, Eddie, or Eddie's coming, let's run. And that broke my heart. Um, and I just thought that was a social, that he just needed some help socialising. So I spoke to his school, and they said, oh yes, well, we're thinking of doing a computer club. I said, well, I don't really want a computer club for my son, like he's 4. I just want you to help him make friends whilst he's in school. Um, and yeah, that didn't happen. But I wasn't too worried about Eddie. I started to see like more anxiety in my younger son, in Elijah. He was riddled with anxiety. Wouldn't give eye contact. Wouldn't talk to people outside of the home. Um, he had an obsession with a couple of family members, that as soon as they come in the room, he'd want to know what kind of pants they were wearing. So he used to take down the top of their trousers. Um, so I suppose for him, he flagged up more that there's something not quite right here. Um, However, in all that time, Eddie was struggling at school with the peers, and it got worse. So then teachers started to sort of categorise his behaviour as naughty, and his calling out wasn't acceptable. So I basically moved both of my boys' school, because maybe I thought maybe it's the school and the ethos of the school, because they weren't getting it, and what I asked them for in terms of help. So I moved them to a primary school that I had friends working, and they did really well there. Still, their problems with one teacher, but on the whole, they were doing really well. But poor Tim, I'd have to carry him into school with one arm and one leg every morning, because he just hated going to school. He really struggled with that anxiety, and even mornings, because he was never a good sleeper. So mornings he always struggled. Um, so again, nothing major, nothing that strikes me as there's a massive issue here. But as they got older and they went through primary school, I kept getting more and more reports that Eddie was highly intelligent, had a really good reading age. Like, I think when he was about 4, 5, he had a reading age of like 8 years and 9 months, and he was really quite ahead of himself. But socially and in the classroom, just really struggled. Outside of home, for me, apart from 2 boys playing constantly and winding one another up, they were excellent. It was hard work having 2 boys that were physically active all the time, but yeah, they were. I didn't see anything majorly wrong. As they got older and progressed through primary school, the primary school that I moved them into closed down because of numbers. So we had to move them again. And by this time, they were 9 and 8. And there was a definite shift in how well they were coping socially in school. My younger son always was the kind of boy that would want one friend, and Eddie was still playing with the girls. But as Eddie got older, the girls didn't really want to play with him anymore, so he became a bit of an outcast. Um, and he was getting in more and more trouble at school. Now, the school were putting this down to me being a single parent. That's the vibe that I got, that it was a behaviour thing, whereas uh, I for me, if I wanted their behave, like they behaved for me on the whole. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're boys, and I've always empowered their boyness, shall we say. So, as I said, their energy, I would take them swimming for a couple of hours after school, and always riding our bikes, always out, always doing stuff, or playing in the garden with a bin lid and hose and water bombs and broomsticks. And we were always busy. And if we weren't busy, we were always cuddled up watching a film, the three of us. So I didn't have any major problems, but the schools did. And I didn't want them diagnosed basically on the school's problems. I wanted the school to change how they um, supported my children, as opposed to me putting my children on drugs to change their behaviour to fit in for a class of 32. So I had a fight on my hands for a good couple of years, um, and I ended up going with the diagnosis. They both got a diagnosis of ADHD and autism. Now, or actually, they call autism spectrum disorder, so ASD. With the ASD, there was no magic cure. There was no tablets. There was nothing that could be done. So you was almost sort of patted on the back by the paediatrician and told to get on with it. For the ADHD, there was medication, and at the time I was doing my degree in psychology, and I did a dissertation on the medicalisation of children's behaviour. Now, I asked some what were adults that had been put on medication for ADHD as children, and whether they felt it benefited them to be on that when they were in their teens. And to my surprise, some of them said yes, because it gave them the focus. So I went through this with my boys, and they made the decision that they wanted to go on it so they didn't get in trouble at school. Um, and it worked to a degree, but then they would forget to take it, and so it was okay for the sort of first year when they were younger, but as they got into secondary school they didn't want to take it, so they just stopped taking it. um, with the autism, the things that I've faced over the years are people saying, "Oh, they don't look autistic," or they don't fit. They're not like this autistic person that I know, and especially because my boys are very different. So Eddie will hold eye contact, can absolutely talk to anyone. He just doesn't know his boundaries. So he'll overshare information. He will say things that that other people would find politically, like he says things that are politically incorrect. He says what he sees. So he has that kind of trouble, whereas my younger one definitely suffers more with anxiety. And when he first gets to meet people, he's very much eyes down, won't talk, And then once he gets to know you and he warms up to you, he doesn't stop talking. He's brilliant, and he's got a lovely little personality. Um, but yeah, people always say, "Oh, they don't look autistic." And one of our friends at Motivated Minds said yesterday she's always come back with, "Oh, sorry, I didn't dress them in an autistic way," but a great comeback. But yeah, what does autism look like? What does it's rubbish. I've always seen autism as a um, superpower as well. I've always brought my boys up to be that actually you're really special and you've got a way about you to see the world in a different way. And I love their honesty. That's a definite given. Is definitely the honesty. I know there's a sensory overload that both my boys can struggle with. So they've had to learn to manage that for themselves. Um, and Eddie's way of explaining autism and how he differs to other people is brilliant. Um, he says it sometimes like we all speak a different language and he doesn't get it why we don't get him. So, but I'm really proud of how far my boys have come. They're both living alone, they are independent, they are sociable in their own rights. They've both got their individual difference. As I said, Tim is Elijah Tim, sorry, changed his name. So he's got a very caring nature and very dedicated to a small number of people around him, whereas Eddie is the outgoing one, knows everyone, happy to chat to anyone, and again a very caring nature and very empathetic. He For anyone that says they're not empathic, yes, they really are, or certainly my boys are. Is they really do feel how others feel, and I would say actually probably more so um, than some other children, and it really hurts them when they see what's going on in the world and the negativity and the hurt, and they get really upset by it and they want to make the world a better place. So autistic spectrum condition, as it's now sort of been relabeled by lots of people, is about having a brain that is about that just works differently, a different ability as opposed to a disability. So I'm really proud of my of my boys who happen to have autistic brains, and I don't think we should limit anyone by a label of autism. And on the contrary, we should never look at one person and say, "Oh, this is their um, typical behaviours," because actually autism, as I've said, is a spectrum, and I've got two boys that are very, very, very different. And I know some of you out there that come along to our sessions have got children on the spectrum, and again, your boys or girls all differ. So there isn't a clear cut of what it looks like, which does make it harder to diagnose. For anyone that's wondering about how I got my boys diagnosed, I did go to the doctors under the advice of the school. The doctors were like, "Oh, okay, what do you want me to do about it?" Um, then the school, after years and years of them pestering, they had an appointment with a CAMS, so that's a child and adolescent mental health service, known in Essex as UMS, Emotional Wellbeing Service. Um, we went there, we saw a psychiatrist and a paediatrician, and they did interviews with me, the school, the boys, and they did an assessment, and it's a scored assessment, and it come back that they met the criteria. So basically that's how they got diagnosed, and it took a long time, but once they got diagnosed, I hoped that it would make the schools have better awareness. Have I seen improved awareness over the years in schools and with other people? Not really. I still think I'm really glad that every April that we get this chance to showcase what autism is, to certainly the extent that it affects some of their lives, for the people that struggle with it. And I mean, we promote it all year round, but it just to have an awareness month dedicated to it, and the amount of fantastic people that can stand up and say, "Yeah, I'm autistic, but I've learned to cope with it." So, like Dan Aykroyd is considered to be, has had a diagnosis. Susan Boyle, the singer, Tim Burton, apparently Lewis Carroll and Hans Christian Andersen, both authors, have also thought to be on the spectrum. So I hope that answers some questions that you might have had about autism. Feel free to ask any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. Lindsay says, my friend has recently written an article about autism which has explained to me more about how she handles everyday life. She explained to me about communication and what she understands compared to what I believe she understood. To me, it was good for her to explain, as I have had no understanding of this before. Now we have a good relationship as we understand each other. Absolutely. So I would always recommend that if you're in a workplace with someone that's on the spectrum, that you sit down and listen to their views. I know that having worked with my son, he often felt misunderstood with what he was trying to get across. So, and some of that's my fault as well. Like, I'm his mum and I still don't listen to him sometimes enough. I get carried away and I'm on a path and I don't explain things in a way to him to slow it down or in a way to check his understanding. And other times he will do the same to me. He goes off because he sees he has a vision. He's very good at having a vision, Ed, and he can see the goal and he just goes for it. So, but everyone that's on the spectrum is very different. Lindsay says, and I will say she's funny, clever woman who tells me about my sarcasm. Excellent. So yeah, Autism Awareness Month. So let's keep shouting about it. Let's keep sharing those posts so people get to understand a little bit more. And what I'll do is ask Ed to put a video up on his view of autism, and we can share that out over the month. So that's my experience with autism. I hope that gives some insight. And as I said, if there's any questions that anyone wants to ask, then please do either private message or just ask in here. Okie dokes. So, what's the time? 8:43. So let's grab the cards out. Let's get these ready. And we will go. Get them. So we have our stress less cards. We have our affirmation cards. We have our empowering question cards and cards against anxiety. So please let me know what card you would like and I'll read them out. Okay, let's go. Let's get an empowering question out while we wait. So do we think we're going to get this snow tomorrow? This cold spell? I've still got my back door open. No draft, feels lovely. Right, Jenny. Let's do a couple of stress less. We'll do one for we'll do Jenny first for anxiety. These cards against anxiety. Then we'll do Lauren and a stress less. Okay. Write without thinking. So page 114. 114. Oh. Okay, write without thinking. Fighting anxiety is like eating jelly with chopsticks. You can try as hard as you like, but you're never going to get a satisfactory result. So stop trying. It's time to be a brave heart no longer. Give in, give way, and give ground. So number 1, I am feeling. If there are any big emotions bubbling up, take note. What are you feeling? Are you feeling sad, worried, angry? And then number 2, next to it, put because. Take a moment to register what is causing those feelings. This is not the time to go all judge jury on yourself, but just notice the triggers if you can. And number 3, it's okay to have these feelings. Acknowledge that it's okay to feel the way you feel. Remind yourself that you won't always feel like this, and you can let the feelings be. Number 4, be kind to yourself. Consider what you need right now. And if you can, let yourself experience these difficult feelings without fear of your own harsh judgment. Sometimes the biggest kindness is to give yourself a little space and time to cry or rage. I love that. That's great. That's emotional regulation, and for a lot of you that join in with our lovely Jo and Empower Hour, that's basically what you do with her. So write down, I am feeling, and then because, why are you feeling that? And then it's okay to have these feelings and being kind to yourself. So I love that. Write without thinking exercise. So that was for the lovely Jenny. Stress less for Lauren. Here we go, Lauren. Let go. Close your eyes and breathe normally. Every time you breathe out, imagine blowing out tightness, bad feelings, stress and tenseness in your body. With every breath out, something bad and not serving you leaves your body. If you want, you can imagine a colour for the things you are breathing out. For example, black or grey. Do this exercise for 5 to 10 minutes. And breathing calms you down, and the exercise will make you feel lighter. Now, when I do that, Lauren, I always imagine like the Green Mile. Have you guys seen the Green Mile, where he's expelling all of that darkness, that grey matter? So do that exercise, and I always inhale the yellow, the sunlight, especially a day like today. I inhale that clean, fresh air, and I'm expelling the negative, dusty rubbish inside me. So that is your stress less technique, and I love that one. That's definitely one of my top ones. Catherine says stress less. So let's get another one for stress less. Pay attention to your breathing. Close your eyes and breathe normally. Start watching your breathing like it was a movie. What part are you breathing with? Your chest, your diaphragm, or your whole body? Do you take short or long breaths? Is your breathing smooth? How does it feel like? Is it hard or does it flow freely? Do this for a moment and then breathe intentionally deeper for 5 to 10 minutes. By paying attention to your breathing, you give it value. At the same time, your mind and body will relax. Absolutely. I love that one. So, an empowering question. Let's find an empowering question. Just put my cards back. Oh, the concentration. Okay, empowering question. What is the most courageous thing I've done? How did it make me feel? Okay, so that question is to all of you. What is the most courageous thing you've ever done? And how did it make you feel? Most courageous thing I've done. I think definitely as a single mum with a mortgage to pay, quitting my job to start Motivated Minds was definitely the most courageous thing I've ever done. To date. So, how did it make me feel? I felt empowered for the first bit, for the first weeks, months, and then I lent my money that I had saved to support me to people and didn't get it back, so then I felt helpless. Then I got working, so I felt really high and excited. And then I didn't have work in and I felt really low, and then I had too much work and I fell out with friends over it, and oh, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster of emotions. Would I change any part of my journey over the last 5 years? No, I really wouldn't. And funny enough, today is 10 years anniversary of when I first come up with the Motivated Minds name and the website and the LinkedIn page and the Facebook page. So yeah, it's been 10 years since its inception today. So I'm quite chuffed, and I'm still gutted that I can't remember how I come up with Motivated Minds. I really can't remember. I can remember where it was, I just can't remember my thought processes behind it. So let me know what is your most courageous thing that you've done, and how it made you feel. I love our empowering questions. So, the week ahead with us at Motivated Minds, we've got our Activate holiday programme running Tuesday and Thursday at the Hub. So, parents, you can come along with your primary school children if you're on free school meals and have a meal and activities with us on Tuesday and Thursday. Or if you don't fancy that, on the Wednesday we've got Pot of Pansy outside Freelands Library. So that's along Whitmore Way Road, about halfway up. Opposite the Total Garage is the library, and we're going to be out there planting lavender, bay trees, rosemary in our community garden that we're building there, and giving away pansies and seeds for your gardens. So please do pop along to that. What else have we got coming on? We've got the lovely Jo, of course, doing her Cup of Kindness. That's all about emotional regulation at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays. We're going to be adding more things to our programme, to our lineup soon. What we're just doing is getting our team back and working on getting them strong and healthy and working together, because obviously having the amount of time off that we've all had off, we just want to make sure that everyone's safe and happy within the hub before we open it to you guys on the 12th. So it won't be long, we're only a week or so away. And yeah, and tomorrow I'm afraid we're still closed. So just to give myself and my team time to relax and get ready for the week ahead. We're taking off the bank holiday Monday as well, but we're all around Tuesday onwards. Yeah, and we look forward to seeing you guys. As for stubbers, I know some of you have been interested in stubbers. I don't think stubbers know what they're doing in May, so it doesn't look like that our personal challenge for May can happen now, but we're still hoping it will work for the August one. We're encouraging people to sign up for our September fun walk. So it's our one of our yearly fundraisers. So if you're around and you fancy raising some money for us, come and join us for our fun walk. Our walk for wellnesses are still running on Mondays and Thursdays, and I'm going to be chucking in some occasional weekend ones where we'll be touring. So watch this space where we'll be exploring Essex and just beyond the borders. So I know that I want to get Waltham Abbey in there and Lee Valley and different places around our lovely Essex. So, but they will be coming up in the event section shortly. In the meantime, I will see you in Team Motivated for those that have joined in there, or our Healthier You, or our Be Well Tribe, one of our 3 groups there, depending what you're looking for. Healthier You is all about the fitness and the nutrition. Team Motivated is all about the support and connecting with others. And Be Well, our newest member of our private Facebook groups, is all about learning. So yeah, please do pop down and join in our groups. Apart from that, that's it from me. Thank you very much for sharing your Moan and Move On, your wellness wins for the hour, and for doing your cards. And thank you, Jenny, for saying happy anniversary. Can you believe 10 years ago? I remember I was sitting in YMCA training office in Romford, been made redundant because the government was changing and the work programme for DWP was changing. So that's when I had the idea of I need to do something and help people thrive. So I'd worked in so many environments of with people and their barriers to learning or their barriers to employment. So I just motivated minds. And here we are 10 years later. I've got a fantastic team, fantastic customers, and an MBE. So it can't be bad. Anyway, my lovelies, it was great to be chatting with you tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next Sunday at 8 o'clock for your Empower Hour. Take care, have a fantastic week. Bye.